Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome. Call the meeting to order. We are going to have a need for executive session. I believe that we'll do that at the end of the meeting. So unless anyone wants it before the meeting. Yep, okay. So we have minutes from our last meeting, which was June 19th. Can I have a motion to approve? Move it.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. We're going to move the agenda around a little bit, but I do want to start with item number 3 first. Consider a resolution approving a final settlement agreement with Utica Med Building LLC with respect to its claim for just compensation under the eminent domain procedure law and approving the form and execution of related documents subject to council review. I don't want to jinx us, but this could be over for us. We have our attorney, Paul Goldman, who represented us very well online here. And Paul, you want to just walk us very briefly and quickly through what we're going to be taking action on?
Yeah, I'm going to be very, very brief. So this is dealing with the acquisition of 411 Columbia Street, which is the parking lot next to the hospital and for the medical office building. We provided and made an advance payment of $1.2 million, which was the purchase price. And as a result of the final negotiations, we've derived a settlement at an additional $10,000. That saves all of the trial costs and the expense. We still have some of it we've incurred, but it's been accepted by the plaintiff. Basically, I think the money goes to his attorney. It's been accepted by the hospital and by Cub. So in this regard, it would be a final settlement. It's minimal payment. It avoids the cost and expense of trial. I wholeheartedly recommend it because your expense of a trial, I've indicated before, it's going to be over $100,000, and it puts this issue to bed.
Okay. All the way to bed?
Done. There's a mutual general release, and then I'm off the payroll forever, which is good, and for you guys. And
I missed one anyways.
yeah, I appreciate it, but it's been a long road. It's been an unfortunate road, but it's over. It's done.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, thank you for your work on this, Paul. I know
Thanks,
it's been a lot. I don't know, 8 years now, maybe. I forget how many.
Goes back to Steve DeMeo when we first started, and
Yeah.
God rest his soul, we saw it through it. We had a trip to the Court of Appeals. We had a trip to the Supreme Court where they were looking at this. So thank God it's over, and it's over.
Good. All right. Well, thanks again, Paul. We appreciate it. So we have, can I have a motion to approve the final settlement?
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, Kristen. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried.
Thank you.
Paul, you are released. Thank you.
Thank you. And Steve, and if you could sign the resolution, and Tim, and just send it to me later today, then I'll get moving and move the money around. So thank you. God bless. Take care, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
Okay.
Bye
You
bye
too.
now.
Bye, Paul.
Bye bye now.
Okay. Do you have any, some people up here. Okay, we're gonna jump down to item number 7 on the agenda, because we've got some visitors here and we don't want to hold them up, although they're welcome to stay as long as they'd like. Consider a resolution relating to the Copper Village LLC facility, extending the project inducement for 1 year, subject to the company submitting an updated application for financial assistance. The company notified the agency the project has been modified to consolidate the Copper Village 9% LLC project and the Copper Village 4% LLC project into one phase, and requested the project proceed with financial assistance consistent with the Copper Village 4% LLC project, which is the abatement of real property tax for a period of 33 years, during which time the company will make fixed pilot payments. The agency will consider a supplemental inducement resolution upon receipt of the updated application materials.
So the agency's support of this project started over 2 years ago when we started walking through the application process. Now just knowing that we're a couple of years beyond that initial engagement, costs go up. We have the two phases that are merging into one project. That's the, the reason behind desiring to see that updated application. Not any question of support towards the project in general, just wanted to reevaluate the amount of financial assistance that will be going towards this project. So yeah, that's our consideration today, and then after today, any assistance needed to get through that and then updated application. We're here for that.
So just, the current, I mean, so that the project has changed somewhat substantially, cost wise and ownership wise. Does the current application is okay to amend, or do we need a full new application?
I think we can amend it. We talked about, the key here is figuring out whether or not the additional benefits are gonna be over 100. If it is over 100, we have to do a new public hearing.
It appears
I
that
mean,
it's
what-
going to be, doesn't
Yeah,
it, based
I
on the
think so.
size?
I think it
so.
probably will.
Yeah.
I think they might as well do a new one. You know, it's,
Which, I mean, there's a decent amount of that information that'll be copy paste,
right.
but
I mean, as long as we get the information, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's an amendment or a brand new application.
Right.
I mean, substantively, it's gonna be the same thing. We take the same action.
But we're okay with it, we're okay with extending. So would we be extending the benefit on the current application going forward, or do we wait and get the new application? If that's the way it's going.
So the way the revised resolution language reads, I believe we're extending the inducement. And then in the supplemental resolution, you will authorize.
No, I know that's what it says, but
Right.
to me, that doesn't make necessarily sense to do that.
Okay,
But, I mean, you guys know better than that.
I think the intent is to just preserve the continuity, and preserve the support.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Without
it's a good project.
it, appearing that the project is starting over from square one.
Yeah.
Is there?
Again, it's more form over substance, Steve. I mean, legally, we are, I mean, technically extending it. Just to go back and preserve what we've done.
Tim, to your,
Is there a timeline on the, and submission of the new application?
on the new application, I mean, I think we'd want to see it as soon as you can put it together,
There
but
was supplemental material submitted last week that sounds like maybe not everyone got a copy of. But we did send the revised budget and application material,
okay,
or it should have now.
okay, then we will probably have it on the agenda for our next meeting.
Okay.
Should be no issue for us running a new pilot analysis, cost benefit and all that.
And this is the second time we're extending the benefit, right?
Yep.
Because that wasn't clear in the letter that was sent with it, but.
So if I understand correctly, are you extending it today? Because I think the concern was that there might be a lapse in September. And
Right.
since there's other financing partners, you just
So,
want to show that
Right,
there's
so-
a
You're
continuity
okay with
so that
doing that?
those can
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into it.
so today.
So Steve, let's do a resolution extending and then,
And then we
We'll
can
get a new-
modify as needed.
Yes.
So do we want? Because so we're gonna say, we'll just leave it as updated an updated application.
Yes.
So the motion would be to extend the project for another year. Subject to the receipt of an updated application. Members okay with it?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I have a motion? Move it. Good, thank you.
second,
Kristen, thank you. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll jump down to, what was that?
And project review.
Number 8, annual project review.
So, we have all the food beverages, AGV, that's here. Guess we want to just do alphabetical.
Well, why don't you take us through what's going on first?
So in the 2025 annual report, there were a couple of businesses that were identified as falling below the minimum threshold of employment, which triggers a annual job review of those businesses. What are the circumstances that led to those circumstances, the job shortfall. So we engage the businesses, try to learn and understand what's going on, give them an opportunity to explain their situation to the agency. And that's where we are. If there's been a cure of the shortfall, then that kind of takes care of that. If there's still a shortfall at the time of this review, then those businesses are again given the opportunity to come in and share with the agency their circumstance.
Do you have the numbers handy?
I don't. I can pull them up.
Well, why don't we have a couple of guests here. I know Wade Abraham from Alder Creek will start with you since. I'm the Z, so I don't know what that's. Wade, would you like to speak it out?
Sure.
Okay.
Mind if I
Have a
go
seat,
down?
have a seat or stand down there.
Back there, I'll just stand. So, I don't know, you want me to start with today or just?
Well,
a
we
little
wanna know,
historical
we don't need historical, we wanna know, I guess, to get to the meat of the matter is what's the deal with the jobs? Is there any,
Right.
are we seeing any growth? Do we have potential or what? Because I mean, I know that there's been some, delayed payments,
Yes.
for the pilot payments and, that's kind of a big deal for us. I mean,
Okay.
we do we offer these things so people can, businesses can succeed and grow
Right.
and expand and all that so we want to hear if that's going to happen or not, because I think that, we have an obligation to do what's right, as you know, so.
Absolutely. So in February of 2023, Paul and I, who were sole owners of Alder Creek Beverages, sold the company to one of our customers that had significantly more financing available and bigger plans for the plant than we could institute on our own. I think you guys were gracious enough to allow us to transfer our pilot program over to the new owners, and I'm here to talk on behalf of them this morning. They have unfortunately run into a great deal of financial trouble over the last 12 months, which has put us kind of behind the 8 ball in cash flow issues. We've been running pretty much almost a year now with driving all of our financial resources into our product operation. In other words, producing bottles of water, because that was their only source of cash flow. The parent company was in product development and spent a great deal of money trying to break into retail markets with new and unique products that didn't ultimately pan out. Great intentions, just, tough business environment. So we took a lot of our cash and put it towards literally buying raw materials so we could get to our customers, so we could get cash flow in, so that we could continue to make payments, albeit we were falling behind. And I can't remember if it was the school taxes or the county taxes, but one of them said, we don't take partial payments at all. So we were kind of put on the back burner on that. I think that was the school taxes, right? Because we were making partial payments to, that was county. Okay, so we were trying to make partial payments on the school. Anyways, that brings us to about 2-3 weeks ago, where ultimately we couldn't even sustain the bottling operation. We couldn't afford raw materials anymore. The debt burden that the parent company had, along with our current vendors that we were behind on, wouldn't sustain continuing operations anymore. So we have scaled back to a very minimal level of 12 employees today. That doesn't include myself, who's literally been working for free for like 2 years. So those 12 employees are what we would consider the critical part of the operation. We're not just, making sure the plant doesn't fall apart. These are our head of quality and regulatory, our plant manager, our a guy in a warehouse, our facilities guy to make sure that the property stays appropriate and in compliance with FDA regulations for food processing. We did that with the intention of trying to solidify new financing so that we could ultimately start right up again as soon as that came through. We are engaged with multiple groups of people that have an interest in running that bottling plant again. But it's a complicated deal because of the amount of debt that the parent company took on. And some of that is bank loans. So, the bank holds the assets of the plant and the land as their see what I'm looking for here.
Collateral.
So it's difficult to close a deal where they make sure they get enough money to satisfy the bank and the other creditors so that it can continue operations. But they do have at least 2 to 3 interested parties right now that they are actively engaged with, working with attorneys to come up with contracts that would be acceptable to both sides. We also have negotiated and finalized a lease that should be signed before September 1st for 28 acres, almost 30 acres of our property that are currently occupied by a subcontractor for National Grid when they did the power line work up north. There's a second phase to that project, and a new subcontractor has negotiated lease with us for that property. Part of that lease is that these tax payments obviously are all cured, and we expect to have that done within the next 2 weeks so that we can consummate that lease, because that cash will go to helping us cure other issues and ultimately get started again.
How much cumulative debt are you talking about in regards to it, where you are right now?
I'm not sure if
If it's confidential, fine.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
just,
I'm not sure I have the authorization to disclose that at
okay.
the time. It's in the millions. More than 10 million, and probably north of that.
Okay.
And so you said that all of the pilot delinquencies would be cured, need to be cured within 2 weeks in order for this lease to be.
They want the lease, consummated by September 1st. So it would be our intention to have the tax payments brought up to date.
What's that gonna do to the job numbers?
Well,
Nothing really, right? I mean,
right now, I think we'll be maintaining at 12 until there would be either a resolution to a sale where we would open back up, or a bankruptcy, I would think, would be the next step. We should know that within the next 60 to 90 days.
Any other questions?
Just Tim, what were the numbers that we were looking at?
So at the time of the annual report, I believe you were only like 4 below that 80% threshold, but it sounds like since December 31st, the employment has deteriorated even further, so you only have the 12 or so now.
Yeah, so we were probably around 34 or 36 before we, had a layoff of about 20 employees.
I have a printed copy.
Well, I think the bottom line is you're substantially lower than what you were supposed to be.
We are,
And there
and
doesn't seem to be any hope to turn that around at any time soon.
well, I,
I know you have a lot of things that you're trying to do
Yeah,
and everything,
yeah.
but there's nothing really, I mean, you're, you're forthright about what's going on.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
well,
I know it's a difficult situation.
it is, it's tough to come up here because we,
Sure.
we endeavored 10 years ago. We're in our 9th year, by the way, of the pilot program, and, we've, Paul and I bought, I do want to get a little historical here because I think we, ultimately came in and did a very good thing for the community in the area. When we bought this out of a public auction, there were only 2 people bidding on this in 2015. It was us and liquidators. So the plant was going to shut down, the equipment was going to get sold, and the land was going to be vacant. So, for 10 years, we've kept the employees, we've paid our taxes up there. I think it's fully benefited the community. It's still our intention to get this back into compliance, although you just can't make any promises at this time.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Lloyd? Well, Peter, why don't you give us the background?
Yeah, so with JGV VIX, so at the time of the annual reports, the number of FTEs was that minimum was 70% or 70. And at the time of the annual report, they were at 53. So I can't do the quick math this morning, but 80% of the 70 would have been 56. There we go. So we're 3 below at the time of the annual report what that minimum threshold would have been. So and as of, so let's say July 31st, your job numbers were about the same.
Lower.
Low, yeah.
Lloyd, welcome.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Some of you are familiar faces. Those that aren't, I know I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I do think it's important to give a little bit of historical context. So I'm Dwight Vicks, and our company was founded in 1918 by my grandfather. So for over 100 years, we've been a very good part of this community. In 2000, we peaked with our revenue about 20 million and about 150 employees. And then in 2024, our last financial audit that I was in control of, we had 7 million in revenue and about just under 70 employees. So you can say to me, well, why? What happened? That 20 million was generated by iron presses, printing presses that made softcover books. That was the technology of the day, and things were good. And then Al Gore invented the internet. The world changed for printing. And I say that a little bit flippantly, but it was quite discouraging. We had markets that just evaporated. We used to do millions of telephone directories for local communities. We printed maps, industrial catalogs that were out of date the moment we shipped them, and we did a lot of legal printing that all went online. So it's great that you can have access to this data easily and cost effectively, but it really changed the game. So we had always been a little bit into distribution, and in 2018, we had the opportunity to acquire the Oriskany warehouse, which is what the pilot is on at 123 Dry Road. That was originally Alfred Publishing's warehouse. Alfred is the largest educational music publisher. If any of you have played piano or have kids, most likely one of those books came out of our print factory and the warehouse in Oriskany. Alfred came to the community because of my dad. He got them to distribute here. They were already a printing customer. And in the 90s, they built this facility, 50,000 square foot, doubled the size 3 years later. So in 2018, Alfred was sold. The acquirer came to us, said, would you be interested in buying it? It came down to 3 potential businesses. Fortunately, we won. The other 2 were outside of New York State. And that was a huge win for us because it more than doubled our distribution revenue. And we saw opportunities for growth there, as well as strengthening the link we've had with our publishing customers, because you not only print, you distribute for them. And so when we came to you in 2018, we had 124 employees, and I started the projection at 114. And there was a lot of questions like, so what do you mean? Well, there was 2 factors. One, print was declining. And the second was, as we invested in new print technology, that technology could do the same revenue with less labor. And in 2000, we put over $4 million, 2020, into an inkjet printing technology, which is the latest technology for print. So instead of using iron presses, we were using basically your desktop printer on multiple steroids. So we had projected a very conservative projection and hoping eventually to start growing the business again. But unfortunately, the new customers we brought in, that revenue didn't exceed the decline of our existing book. And what really jumped the decline was COVID. Over 70% of our work is from music. And when COVID hit, music ceased. And so once COVID was over, the market never recovered to its original levels prior to COVID. So I'm going to be 64 in a couple months. You know, if you're running a declining business, it's hard to recruit young future talent. I have 3 amazing kids that chose different careers. So I figured I needed to come up with an exit strategy. So my objectives were, you know, printing companies aren't Google, but my objectives were to find a company that could retain as many employees as we could and take care of my customers long-term, given the instability of the print market. So Sheridan, second largest book printer in the United States, privately held by a gentleman that actually started in the trade the same time I did. He did a little better than me. He saw this trend sooner and consolidated the volume over a more productive supply base, so manufacturing base. So every company that looked at us said to us, I've got excess capacity. I can't keep your print operation in Yorkville. So Sheridan moved the print operation down to Hanover, Pennsylvania. We had to lay off about 18 employees as a result. But they kept the warehouse in Oriskany, which was great because it's a great workforce there. It's a great building. Part of the pilot helped us put $1 million into the building to put in a new roof and HVAC, and the property has the opportunity to double the size. So currently the labor force is about 42, and realistically we'll never get to the 70 in the remaining 2 years of the pilot. You revised the pilot agreement a couple of years ago, which lowered the benefits around $72,000. I understand that. And you know, the numbers are the numbers. Will it get to 70 in 2 years? The answer is no. Is there potential for future growth? The answer is yes. The problem we have now of 100,000 square feet, it's full, and 40,000 of that square footage is still the dead product that's never going to sell. So fortunately, our customers are committed to getting rid of that, which we'll do by the end of the year. And then we can try to recruit new customers to come into the facility. Now, if Sheridan, there are 3 renewable lease options. The third one gives them an option to buy the building. If they choose to go in that direction, we clearly could get to 70, but not anytime soon. So that's kind of the state of where we are. I mean, obviously I'm grateful for the pilot. I'm hoping the next 2 years we can just finish our obligations. And I'm hopeful that Sheridan will, you know, continue to see the value in the operation and invest in it. That is not my decision. I can't promise that to you because I don't make those decisions anymore. So
They were just a couple shy at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And now you said we're maybe about 10 more, less than that?
yeah, we're total headcount is 43, and we have 3 open requisitions. So, you know, 46, but we won't get to 70 unless the building is expanded.
And so that number of 70 is, what's our percentage that we, are accepting?
80% is the standard at, you know, that there's a review.
Okay.
So that would have been 56.
Yeah. And then we amended, changed the pilot last time around to, and we lowered it based on the number of employees.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know, I guess we could do that again, based on the percentage, and so we keep something. You are paying your taxes and doing all the other things, you're paying the pilots and, you know, doing that and, you know, that's optimistic. So, I mean, I don't know what the flavor of the board is, but 2 years to kind of have it.
2 years left.
2 years left, yeah. It's not much, so, is it much to do that, to change?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Is it much, is it to change the, you know, percentage of the benefit? I mean, again, is that difficult to do?
No, you have discretion to do that. This is unique insofar as, for the review, if there's something that's kind of beyond the control of the company that's industry-wide, That's a criteria for, exercising discretion, because it's not something you can point to the company that they did wrong, or, it's.
And I think we talked about that in the past,
Yeah.
and made those
I mean,
accommodations.
the printing industry is an industry that just is changed.
Okay.
So, understanding that there's currently 43 open positions.
46.
That would be the new baseline.
We can do that, we can alter that, right, 46. And we can, so what's the benefit now?
They're certainly in the,
I know it's the waiting games here.
yeah, and it was prorated down. So the total exemptions last year, 103,000 and change. And total pilots paid was about 36,000. So, yeah, if we would just prorate that down again to, so they're on the 2/3 portion of the pilot, so.
Okay.
I gotta adjust that downward by, what would that be? 15% or so.
Yeah,
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 just like
figure that out.
Yeah.
He said it was 36,000.
Wherever you go.
Yeah, yeah, year 8 was 56,000, not 36.
Year 8 of the pilot, it's a fixed.
Fixed pilot, okay.
Yeah, it's
Last year was 56,000, this year, we're in
57.
year 9, which is 57,000.
Well, we can work out the percentages based on that, but.
But it's a fixed pilot,
Fixed
it's got, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think that sounds like maybe a reasonable action if the board concurs. So we'll take a motion to lower the employment count to 46 and adjust the pilot based on the percentage of the difference there, whatever it comes up to. We can leave that vague for now, so, but that would be the idea. So with that said, can I have a motion? Thank you, Erica. Second, Veronica. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Thanks for being here, Dwight.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. In regards to the Alder Creek issue, I mean, not paying your pilot, not, numbers way down.
They are in default.
Yeah, they're in default. I mean, for me, I don't know, I would be for terminating the pilot at this point. I don't know any, I don't think we can adjust it anymore. Have a good weekend. At this point, but that's what I think, but I'll let you guys, if anyone else has any thoughts.
I guess the question is that an action that's gotta be taken right now?
No, but I don't know why we have to wait.
Maybe I wanted to think about it.
I'm just saying, well, no, you can think about it, but I mean, look, they're in
That was
default.
the only reason, I guess.
They're in default right now, because they haven't even paid their pilot, right?
I hear you.
And there's no, I mean, based on, and I've known Wade since high school. I mean, he's a great guy and I believe what he says, but I think he's also trying to just do whatever he can for his owners and stuff. And I don't think that there's a chance in hell this thing's gonna work.
Yeah, I didn't hear back forward.
No,
Yeah.
no, a lot of ifs and what ifs and all.
We mentioned, that there could be a potential for bankruptcy. If that path were to happen, what does that mean related to a pilot? I mean,
It's a default.
it's gonna,
It's a
well,
default.
it's a default, but what does that mean? Those taxes are definitely not gonna get paid, nothing.
Well, so it goes back, so the property will go back on the tax rolls.
But pilot payments are not taxes.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
private contract payments,
Yeah.
right? So
So they'll probably get discharged, probably.
I guess so the point is either way, not gonna get paid, is the point, right?
I mean, I think we gotta read between the lines here, but yeah, it doesn't sound optimistic.
I don't mean to sound doubtful, I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
I think he was sounding doubtful, so I think you're.
What did he say, when did he say he thought they would know if they were either getting new financing or they were filing, like 60 days?
60 to
I thought he
90
said
days.
60 to 90 days. But we said, didn't we say he thought the payments would be made the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, we did.
Well, that's if these leases get signed.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, you know, I,
Sale or bankruptcy are the next steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it works what he's trying to do, he said they become current with payments in 2 weeks.
so that's one issue. The other issue is the jobs.
Yes,
Which is
right,
12
yes.
versus,
Yeah.
you know, 48, 50. I mean,
Commitment is 44. you know.
yeah, that's not even, I mean, to me, I don't think that's, you know, close or reasonable at this point.
Yeah, there's, yeah, as you said, no path forward to a substantial
Yeah.
job increase.
So no, we don't have to take action right now, but I mean, I don't know, you know, we could, this, waiting a month doesn't really.
Well, the only thing it would do, right, is if they were able to make a payment. Because someone just said, right, he said that would
Right.
shake up. Now, look, if it doesn't, you're in the same place a month from now that you're in now. The only difference is you either get a payment or you don't. And then you do it then, and, you know,
Yeah.
that's the only difference, I guess.
But I guess for me, if we, whether we, you know, get the payment or not, I still think that the pilot should be terminated from my opinion.
Yeah, it seems like that would be the case. I'm just saying, if
Do
you
you
wait
think
2
they-
weeks, then the jurisdiction
If
gives
that
another function,
payment, if.
or they don't. And then you're right
Absolutely.
back where you started, then you terminate the pilot. That part I get, like, obviously, they're not gonna make it, right? So like,
Yeah.
or it doesn't sound great, right? I guess I'm just wondering if his plan to make, you know, get out of default happens in 2 weeks and we meet again in a month. It's the worst they can happen, correct? But. It's just.
So I guess it's,
Opinion, I guess.
so, well, I guess what would it be?
Do it now or in 60
If
days.
we
Or
terminated the pilot, it would give them less incentive to make the payment.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Executive session.
What's that?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know that it's executive session.
No, it's probably not.
I mean, this is, you know, it's, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, my only thought was that is just if if something's gonna shake out 2 weeks, we're gonna meet 2 weeks after that. We're gonna cancel the pilot either way, more than likely, I would assume. Then, you know, either jurisdiction gets another payment or they don't. They declare bankruptcy, no one gets anything. Well, someone will get something, but it won't be us. It's,
Nothing for us to get out of it.
yeah, that's fine. I guess that, but it's up to, I mean,
Yeah,
don't know
so
what
I mean, I guess
opinion is
at this point, it's been this long, you know, if we wanted to wait another month in hopes that they make the payment and then we'll decide at
If
that
they
point.
make the payment, what about the second part of it with the job piece?
nah, they're still not gonna make it.
That's not gonna happen.
Just trying to. see if we
Unless
can
they,
grab another payment.
unless in the next month, they get their financing in place and can start rolling people in, then, you know, maybe that might be, you know, something to talk about, but I don't know that that's gonna. It's unfortunate. I mean, I remember when they came in, they were optimistic, they brought us bottles of water and all. No bottles of water today, obviously.
I'm drinking one right now.
Better make sure it's okay, Jim.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it might be a little on boat.
It's getting close, I gotta be honest.
Boom.
Hey, that's expired. That's March 9th, 2026. So it's well done.
It's only water.
I'm just joking.
Tim, were you gonna say
I mean, that is. the day.
No, but it sounds like, we will, you know, extend this out for consideration in September.
Yeah, I think we can do that, if that's okay with the rest of the board.
I'm good.
Oh. Item number 4, consider a resolution relating to the New York Rome Old Oneida Solar LLC facility authorizing the release of certain land from the leaseback transaction and approving the form and execution of related documents subject to council review.
So solar facility on Old Oneida Road. Basically the owner or the previous owner, sold to a new owner of the residence, and we're releasing that portion of the, property from the leaseback transaction. Pretty straightforward.
Okay, I have a motion,
Move it.
second? Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 5. Consider a resolution relating to the Griffiths Local Development Corporation Master Lease Facility authorizing the release of an 11-acre parcel of land from the master lease agreement and conveyance to GLDC and approving the form and execution of related documents subject to council review.
So this is land up by the baseball fields and the B-52, and between the baseball fields and Robert's Office Interiors on Hanger Road, Griffiths. So that property line goes right through the one of the baseball fields. So for purposes of extending the infrastructure up to the triangle for the Chobani development, we're looking to release this land to GLDC, which will then convey to Oneida County for, their improvements necessary for the project, the Chobani project.
Have a motion.
Motion.
Okay, second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 6, consider a resolution relating to the Griffiths Local Development Corporation Master Lease Facility authorizing the release of a 5.99 acre panel of land, Geiger Road parcel from the master lease agreement, conveyance to GLDC, and approving the form and execution of related documents subject to council review.
So this is land where a proposed hotel and commercial development will take place on Griffiths. GLDC has been engaging with the proposed developer and looking towards the execution of a purchase sale agreement. So this is just releasing it from the master lease that we hold and allowing that project to move forward. And FYI, the developer has expressed interest in pursuing benefits through the agency as that project moves forward.
Hopefully we'll get an application. Okay. Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Brent. Second, Erica. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. An actual project update.
Good morning.
Welcome.
I
Take
think
the table if you'd like.
we should be a little more positive than.
We can only hope. I'm Amber Mathias. I don't think I've met everyone in person, but I've seen you guys on Zoom. I'm working on the Benascio development team alongside Aaron. We've been on this project since I've been here, part of the Benascio team since 2020. So just before COVID, and we've heard a reoccurring theme, I think today, I'm sure you guys heard a lot of how it's affected and its reoccurring effects as we continue moving forward. But as Aaron said, we have, I'd say, a fairly positive review today, but we just wanted to thank you for allowing us to come in and share with you an update from our team so you can kind of see what our thought process is and how we're thinking of moving forward. If you want to go to the next slide. Okay, so back in 2021 is when the original concept plan for Woodhaven was approved. Is everybody at the table pretty familiar with this site and the approvals at that time?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So at that time, I'm just going to focus on the Park Drive piece since that's where our pilot benefits are. We had proposed, we had 250 lots. The majority of those would be single family. There were duplexes that we had proposed in that as well, all for sale product. And we had, I believe it was 5 phases that we were expecting to move along with us. The first phase was right along Park Drive, which I'm sure all of you have kind of driven past and seen what we have done there thus far. And then the plan after that was to determine where the next appropriate phase would be. It wasn't necessarily in this order, it was where the best placement would be. So that was back in 2021. And at that time, if you go to the next slide, we had come to you and were awarded IDA benefits, both a pilot, which was new, I believe, for all of New York State, a residential pilot. So we came up with an 18-year pilot that was from 2023 to 2040. That agreement was dated in December of 2021. We later came back in October of 2024 to amend that to allow to potentially lease those units as well, because we had some interest in that and wanted to have that ability. And then we amended it last last December to just change our lender from originally it was Community Bank and then we refied with Pioneer Bank. Our sales tax exemption, we had development area number 1, which was 37 lots along Park Drive. That area was approved for sales tax exemption and that ran through 7-2. So we would have to update that as we continue to build. I believe to date, we've claimed about 250,000 in sales tax exemption. And we have used our full mortgage recoding. So those 2 benefits have been used. And then we'll update the sales tax exemption as we continue to move along. Next slide.
So in 2021, following the pilot, we began what was supposed to be about a 37 single-family home first phase, starting along Park Drive there. And so far, we've invested just over about $3 million, not including the infrastructure that the city has been gracious enough to help us with. But as you'll see on the slide, there is about 11 homes built in the last 5 years. 8 of those have been sold. Pretty slowly, rather periodically throughout those 5 years. We do have 1 pending currently. 1 we are leasing, which you guys are gracious enough to allow us to do that. And then 1 still remaining active for sale. So total loss is just over $300,000 for these single family homes. And a lot of that is driven by, things that you guys probably hear very often. Increased construction costs, increased interest rates, right? Coming through COVID, right? I know that word comes up a lot. Not to use that as an excuse, but just these economic drivers, things have changed. So we wanted to make sure that, we remain committed. So we had built 7 homes originally. The next 4 foundations were in. We weren't seeing great activity on those first 7 homes, but we felt we owed it to, the city of Rome, the IDA, the county, to continue building these homes and see what we could get for activity. So those 4 homes went up and we're going to finish those out. But part of this, I think pivoting, to the next slide would be because of these increased construction costs, these higher interest rates, the for sale housing feasibility really it isn't strong at this very moment in time. And there's a few reasons why we think that will come along, in this area, later in the slide. But, as of right now, I think that original 250 single lot, development probably should be amended just slightly to maybe tailor more towards, the actual market that we're seeing right now, and the successes that we've had in this region.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to when I refied my house back in 2020, you had an interest rate of 3.2%. Now we're lucky even with a well-qualified buyer to see 6.5, 6.8. So that alone has just impacted us significantly from when we started in 2021
Absolutely.
to now.
And
we all know what that does to your mortgage payment.
That's right. We originally had started the houses closer to 500s. And we realized quickly after interest rates had risen that we had to just bring that down. And knowing that we were going to take a loss, but understanding that there was not a buyer for that price point at that point in time.
So we did pivot. We paused in our development to really go back and take a look as a whole at our master plan for this area. And as you know, we own the Park Drive piece, but we also own the Floyd Ave piece as well too. So when we're looking at this, we've always been looking at holistically as a community development and how they're all going to work together. So what you see off the Floyd Ave piece with the red and the yellow, that intent hasn't changed. That was always to have commercial right up on Floyd with garden style type apartments that come after that. And then with that connection now with the roadway coming from Floyd into Park Drive to really have that community feel that you're then going slowly into, originally it was the duplexes and single family homes, but we've now pivoted this master plan to include really a more sustainable mix of leased units with the garden style apartments into duplexes and then into the single family. So what you're looking at here, and you can go to the next slide too. This is Park Drive specifically, bless you. The pinkish purple area is all single family homes. So we are remaining with that intent to finish along Park Drive, and on the other side of the road, those lots are actually really nice on that side and slightly larger as well too, which we think fits well for single family. And then the dark blue is really duplexes, and we haven't determined yet if we want those for sale or for lease. We're going to determine at the time when we move into that what the best option is. And then the green, the kind of whites and those colors in the back are a continuation of the garden style apartments. Those are 10-unit buildings. And on another slide, I'll show you kind of what those look like. I think it's on the next one. So
Yeah.
we could flip to that one. We did go last fall to planning board and to zoning to have this master concept plan approved. And it was. So we have the master plan approved and we have the parcel off the first phase of Floyd Ave approved as well too. Since our plans haven't changed for those first 37 units off Park Drive, there hasn't been an amendment needed for that area. So really, I guess today as we continue to go through this, our message to you is the pilot that we have now for those homes, we're not looking to change it. We're not looking to amend it. We're staying course on that. It's more to let you guys know timing wise, it just might be a little longer to get this going. Here we wanted to just show you, I'm sure you've all driven on Park Drive. So those top two are the homes that we have built. There's 1,400 and 1,600 square foot footprints. The center one is just an illustration of the duplex units. We haven't fully developed that design yet. However, on the bottom, we have moved forward with the design of our garden style apartments because we do feel that likely that's probably, and Erin will talk about that next, probably our next move here on Woodhaven. Those are really nice 10-unit buildings. You can see they still have a really nice residential feel with all units having garage access and pretty much direct access right into their unit, which is just a new product to this market as well for us.
Yeah, so timing wise and really our vision would take us to the other side, which is down on Floyd. Understanding the timing of Giovanni and our dear friend Jeff, who is working on the rec center. I know he's hoping to aim for spring to break ground there is what we've been told. And I would love to, move forward with some of our surrounding garden style direct access units as he's then going forward with construction. So that's kind of our goal is to work closely with Giovanni, the rec center. And then, we also have a couple other cool things going on with Air City Lofts, which is doing very well. The MetLife building that's going up now. We want to time this up correctly with the market. And I think pivoting to those, multifamily apartments, garden style phases, probably somewhere between, the 50 and 80 that we had shown for the first phase. Not too big of a chunk, but enough where we feel the demand is strong and it would provide housing for a lot of the workforce of Giovanni and then the surrounding, implications of the rec center as well. So those are our thoughts there. I think we would continue to move on the single family homes kind of on a as needed basis until we really start to see that come back to life in the market. And then we would probably do some more spec single family homes. But until we see that demand really start coming back, we're going to almost pause a little bit there, move towards the apartment side on Floyd Ave, and try to work very closely with Giovanni and the mayor. So to touch on some of those other cool things that we have going on, Air City has done really, really well residentially. We are just about full and as you guys I'm sure have seen, we are almost finished. I think it's in the fall we should finish with.
October we'll be finished with phase 5. The first one's actually released. We're just waiting for power. So there's an easement that needs to be signed. That's all we're waiting on. Know about that.
So yeah, that's another 40 some odd units going on to Air City, and we are currently very, very close to moving forward with a fourth phase. That would be another one of those buildings that you see there, another 70 some odd units to be, that would be all residential. As you know, I'm sure you've seen the commercial has remained vacant mostly. Besides, Crust, I think is the most busy restaurant in all of New York State. So outside of that, the commercial hasn't done incredibly well. We've kind of struggled to find new tenants. The first floor commercial seems to be a struggle point. Like we've done really well over at Hanger Road, off of Brooks Road there with not only MetLife, but then the existing building. We've had some really great defense contractors in there. North Point Defense was existing, had almost the entire building. They were then bought out by General Atomics, who may be looking to expand as well in the coming years. Raytheon is also in that building. So we find it that these standalone buildings have done very well. The first floor commercials tends to struggle a bit. And some of those retail businesses struggle with upfront capital, some of their biggest struggles. So we do currently have a couple of really cool restaurants that are looking about going in probably directly across from Crust at this time. And you may have seen that Bill Vinci is moving into the old Bull Boss space, which is really cool. I think he'll thrive there. Him and his son are great people, so we're really excited about that. So, you know, it's been a struggle on commercial, but we do have some light at the end of the tunnel. We did convert two building first floors into residential, and now we're committed to filling the rest of the commercial. Polaris building is thriving, and the MetLife building is cruising along, as I'm sure you've seen the steel going up.
So we see, I think the message here today is we see such continued growth, and we're ready and willing to continue to invest. It's just at this time strategically trying to understand what we already have in product and what's the next product that's going to make the most sense for the needs of the community. And also looking at the surrounding area to Aaron's point, you know, phase 4, we have that pretty much teed up, ready to go for one of the buildings, 4A. That we are honestly just waiting to see what the OZ benefits end up looking at, because if that gets renewed this coming year, end of the year, and it is a rural area, that is a much more attractive project to move forward with. So, and right now we're usually at 95 to 98% occupancy at Air City Lofts as a whole. So, and we haven't seen that slow down. If somebody moves out, we have people ready to move right in. The studio apartments that we added is a great mix, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback on that so far. So as soon as those are ready to lease, we're expecting, I think she's already got 3 of those pre-leased for phase 5, and that'll be 48 units. So we see a lot of potential. We're excited for the future here. There's no slowing down there. It's just what's the right move. And obviously, you know, nobody wants to see a loss. We're showing a loss of 310,000. Certainly not the biggest loss we've ever taken. We're in real estate development, but you know, you're not going to continue to just put those homes up knowing that that's the.
Yeah, agreed. And I think I was sitting actually with Sunny last night before we headed out of the office, and we talked about, you know, Steve and the inception of Bonaccio coming into Rome, and we couldn't be more appreciative of all the partners. Like, you guys have been outstanding, the city, the county, MB Edge. Everybody has kind of come together and done what they said they were going to do, and committed to doing some great things. And as you can see, it's working out really well so far. So we're committed to continuing to be here, and we're really, really excited for what's to
But
come.
we owe you a debt of gratitude as well for stepping up and taking on these projects, because I know they're not always easy to do.
Thank you.
A little risky and things.
Sure.
You know, I remember having the conversations about the housing project, and, you know, that was a big deal, right? I mean, like you said, it was the first one in the state, and, you know, we were trying to muddle through it and figure it out, and
Together,
I think we were all, yeah, right, I think we were all hopeful that it was gonna take off, and for a lot of different reasons.
Sure.
You know, it hasn't, but hopefully it will eventually.
Yeah,
So
it
thanks
is.
for your
Yeah.
patience on that.
Absolutely.
And Bonaccio has been transformative for the community, and we are grateful for that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Nice to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the price point on the studio apartments, just out of curiosity?
It's $2.50 a square foot, so times that by 416 to 513, so we're around 12 to 1300.
Yeah. Okay. It's a bit smaller. It's almost like a New York City style living, right? Where you kind of, but it is cool, and it's a younger thing. Like, I know a lot of the younger generation is like, yeah, I'll live in a small place and save a couple bucks on rent. So it's a new concept, and hopefully with Giovanni and some of that workforce, people should probably gobble those right now.
We've seen it, it's interesting because you never know exactly what your tenants are going to be until you're in there, but we have primarily single and with a dog in all of our city lofts, and there's very few families in there. So the demand for studios in those smaller apartments is really great, but this product is kind of unique too, because you have direct access into your unit. So it just feels a little bit more residential in there as well too. So it's something new in that regard.
And a big piece actually that I forgot to mention on the first phase over on Floyd Ave, those would be, have garages as well. So that's a big add-on compared to the product that exists. We all know the winters up here are very fun, so having a garage is nice.
Yeah. So, and maybe I missed it, so are you guys in communications with Giovanni in regards to their whole build out, in regards to when they're coming online, and potentially what their demographics are gonna look like, where you kind of have the right product for the right people?
Yeah, I would say
We're trying to stay as close as we can. I think we've done a pretty good job. You know, as I'm sure if any of you guys have been in contact with Giovanni, they tend to be all and then nothing, and then all and then nothing. So it's like radio silent to
here we go, but we did put them in the first floor as well, right next to the Bonaccio Construction Office, which we opened up. If you haven't been there, step over. It's really cool. Giovanni office is great. There's not always a ton of people in there. The latest is that, you know, they've been delayed, and that things are moving forward. I know the project keeps getting bigger and bigger, which means more people and more people, which is great. So we are trying to stay very close to them, and we did talk with them about how much would, you know, for workforce. And they kind of helped collaborate by giving us like a hint, like, hey, yeah, maybe some smaller studios type stuff would be great, as they start building that facility, so.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? Thank you for the update.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you
guys.
for
Appreciate you
coming
for having us. Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, last item on the agenda. Looks like Julie drew the short straw. Consider a resolution appointing Julie as the FOIL officer. For we have a motion from James. Can I have a second?
Second.
Veronica, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Nice. Have a good weekend.
See you guys. We do have so Friday, September 18th, we're gonna be changing.
Oh,
We have,
Laura, hi.
3 of us that are gonna be here.
You know, you never have faith.
We'll be setting out dates.
Thank you. That's nice to meet you as well too. Thank you for all your help with everything there. And especially with listening to different people involved. I feel like.
Before the 18th or after? You're going to.
We're going back to sport later. I'll be playing gas. She got
Before is the.
No concept of time right now.
I'm sure you know.
I can relate. But thank you very much.
Oh.
So we do have a need to go into executive session to discuss contracts and what else?
Proposed lease of real property.
Yeah, do I have a motion? Move it. Second. Again, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Hey, Steve, what the hell?
So back. Much like the water from the Yep, sure. Thanks. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
And you got the FOIL officer on there too.
We don't want to miss it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of the summer. We got another month. We got another month. It's not till September.